As mentioned in the earlier clip, that in this clip we are going to little bit talk about some editing techniques also in ArchiCAD. Prior to that, let's try to complete a small exercise which is related to this snap point and guide feature. You can see there's a half was the option selected for your snap points, and that was working for the combination for between nodes. So what was exactly this and how it differs between intersection point and nodes? So this is what I'm going to actually clarify first of all, and then I'll switch to the editing part. So keeping the half again as it is and between nodes as it is again, make sure that you are working with the line tool. And what exactly I want to show, that if I touch to any segment with the Mercedes cursor, you can see half marking is shown on that particular segment exactly between the nodes. So this line segment starts from the midpoint of this end at the end point of this other line. So this diagonal segment, it's half location. Getting the point? And this time if I touch to this vertical segment, it's half location. Same way if I try to touch to this vertical line, it's half location. So every time I'm trying to touch, again, you know it very well that if you get this temporary guideline, you can just try, or a tracker line, you can just try to stay there with a Mercedes cursor and you can remove it. So this half location which you were getting is between nodes. That means when I touch to a segment, you can see the nodes are getting highlighted, in the sense black dots you might even see on the end of this segment. Okay, so this is suppose these are the nodes between. So remember, you're talking about the between nodes. That means the full length of the object will be considered, that is end of the line to the other end of the same segment, its half was highlighted. Now if I change this and if I try to say no between intersection points, what will happen, that I am going to show on this particular location. Check out, if I try to touch to this diagonal line with the Mercedes cursor, you'll get half of that exactly at the same location as per the previous. But now if I try to touch to the base of this rectangle, you will see half of that intersected length, not the full length of the segment. Okay, though my segment was full length starting from this end point to this end point, because it was getting intersected by a vertical line, so half of that is getting considered. Again, here also the half of that is getting considered. But here it won't be any change because there's no intersection between the segments. So that's the reason you cannot differ the difference between the between nodes and the between intersection point in this diagram, but surely you can do that over here. So what I'm going to do, say for example, if I touch and get the exact check mark, half of this, and if I touch and take this over here, okay, half of this. Now again, if you go over here, you will get the half of the intersected length, not that earlier half. So half of the intersected length. So this is how you can start working and get multiple possibilities to achieve the accurate drafting. Got the point? So this was something which you have to keep on choosing as per your convenience, whether you want to work with the between nodes or between intersection, and that combination will get worked out, or it will work along with the chosen option from the snap location. That is whether you want to snap it on the half location, division, percent, distance. These three combinations I'll explain in some other clip. So till that, you just try to, if you want to explore on your own, you can surely do that. Otherwise, in the after a couple of clips, I'll definitely talk about this also. So back to my between nodes combination, this is what I want to continue with. And now I'm going to show you how to edit the objects. For example, I want to get rid of these line segments because I've just drawn them very randomly. They are not supposed to be part of my project or the targeted floor plan. So I want to just delete them. So how we can do that? So to make sure to remove your draw mode, that is to cancel your draw modes. Your info box says default setting right now, which means you are in the draw mode with the line tool as a tool which you have activated. So I want to come out of this. You can do that by clicking on this arrow button. This arrow tool is nothing but you are going to enter inside the select mode. So moment you click on this, you will see that your info box is supposed to be empty. Now you are valid for the selection. How you can understand that? Read the lower left corner of your screen. Click an element or draw a selection area. Press and hold Ctrl plus Shift to toggle element or sub-element selection. So this is the clue which is supposed to be that click an element. Okay, you have to click an element. The arrow tool says now you please go and click on the element. Element what? Line, arc, circle, maybe wall, column, slab, anything which you have drawn, you can select that. So let's try to do that. Right? So what you have to do is you just have to single click. You stay with the Mercedes cursor, and what will happen? ArchiCAD will highlight that this is the line and related information is displayed in the tooltip. So if I want to select this, I'll just single click. You will see that it will get selected. Now this highlighted blue line just because of the tracker option. So I'm just going to stay back with the Mercedes cursor and you will realize that will get removed. So always remember when you select the segment, normally the selected segment gets highlighted with the green color. So these are the by default devoted colors. You can change them in the preferences. Once you become an advanced user, you please try to do that. Otherwise, you will get used to and you will find that this is also quite comfortable. So whichever the segment you select, you will realize that selected segment is getting highlighted on your screen. And one at a time, I'm just clicking and I'm changing my selection. With the Mercedes cursor, you're doing that. Please be careful about that. So with the Mercedes cursor, I'm just clicking on the required segment. So the moment I click on the required segment, you can see in the info box, you can see it is written all selected one and same line tool, but geometry methods are inactive. And this is nothing but similar options are getting displayed in the info box. But what is difference? All selected. So this is something shows that you are working in a edit mode now because there is no default setting wording. It is now shows as a all selected, that is you are in the edit mode. Now you can edit the segment. So this selected segment, you can change its line type, you can change its pen number, or you can add the arrowhead at its start point, end point, etc. etc. So what exactly we are going to do? Say for example, if you click on this line tool icon, or if you hit Ctrl T, or you double click on this line tool icon, whatever you wish, you can use that technique. And when you double click, you will see same earlier dialog box which used to use for defining the line settings before drafting. This time it is written as a line selection setting. Earlier it was line default setting. So line selection setting and line default setting. So that's the difference. Okay, so line selection setting, that means now I'm in the edit mode. This is applicable for selected elements to change their properties. So maybe if I change this from here to a dash line, or if I change this pen number and make it some different color I'm working with. Okay, and if I click on the OK, you will see that your line has been modified. You have edited the segment. Okay, so if you want to deselect the object, very simple thing. But before that, just notice this selected one and editable one. Why it is supposed to be like that? Because you were entered inside that dialog box, no, for editing. So that time ArchiCAD has already mentioned. Now you are specially editing this object. So earlier it was just selected, not editing was not activated. But now you are actually inside the edit mode of this segment. Okay. So if I want to deselect this, either you use escape or single click on empty part of the drawing. But let's use a single escape from the keyboard and you will realize that your object has been deselected and you have again entered inside the draw mode because the line tool was there. If you use one more time escape, then probably you will return back to arrow tool. So remember about this hierarchy. Single escape, after selecting the object, if I use a single escape, you will enter inside the draw mode for that tool which you have selected or the object which you were editing. For the same object, you will enter in the draw mode. And if you hit one more time escape key, then you will go back to the arrow tool. Okay, so this is how you can activate your select object Right now I'm selecting one object at a time. In the next clip, I'll show you how to select multiple objects, but right now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove these objects. I told you that I want to get rid of these objects. How I can do that? So select one object at a time, hit the delete key from the keyboard, or if you select the object and even if you hit the backspace also, it is okay. So whatever you find comfortable, you can do that, or otherwise you can select the object, give a right click, and from that you can, from this context menu also, you can use the delete. So that's something which is very simple. Fine. So try this, and once you have completed this much of part, we will see the next part. So in the next part, I'll show you how we can start further using the editing techniques and improve our drafting.